Hey y'all, it's Steffi and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing another Friendly Sisterly Advice. So as y'all know, my Friendly Sisterly Advice series started over on Instagram, and these videos are basically just about me giving you my advice, my feedback, my thoughts on a certain topic, like I would if you guys were my little brothers and sisters. So keep in mind that what I'm telling you is all from my own perspective, from my own experiences and observations. If you have another topic that you want me to go over in another hashtag Friendly Sisterly Advice video, please leave them in the comments below. Or if you're shy and you just want to slide it on over into my DMs on Instagram, you can feel free to do so. In today's topic, I'm gonna be talking about being a woman of color in the accounting industry. Now let me just do like a ton of disclaimers. This is purely my own personal experience and observations. They do not reflect the opinions of any of the companies I've worked for or anyone else other than myself. Obviously, every single person perceives interactions differently. So please keep that in mind throughout this video, and I'm gonna stop babbling and just jump right into it. I've actually gotten this question several times about my experience being a woman of color in the accounting industry. So let me give you guys a little bit of background about myself. So my parents immigrated from the Philippines before I was born. They came over as nurses and started their life here in America. That's when they had me, and I have spent my entire life in the US. So that's my background. So fast forward, I want to talk more about my college years, getting into accounting, getting internships, and going into the professional world, and just what I've kind of observed, experienced, and my thoughts and stuff. And this is kind of like, I don't have anything written down, shooting from the hip, so I'm just gonna give it to y'all. This might be kind of a jumbled mess, but that's fine. It's like y'all are sitting down here with me and we're just talking, chatting like I would with my friends and my family. For the sake of this video, I'm just gonna call my race Asian. So I've definitely had to deal with a lot of stereotypes for Asian women. If we're all honest with each other, with ourselves especially, we all have an unconscious bias. Whether you want to admit it or not, I think that we all have that, and that's something you have to actively recognize about yourself and check in your own mind. In college, when I was trying to get an accounting internship, I remember then when I had gotten that opportunity, one of my friends was like, how did you get that internship? Must be because of your looks or something of that to that nature. That's not really specific to being a woman of color, but more of just being a woman. That kind of was one of the things I've had to deal with throughout my career, and it's not specifically because I'm a woman of color, I constantly have to deal with. So whether it's because people say I get ahead because of the way I look, people think that I'm an intern when I'm actually a manager because of how young I look, or because I'm youthful, and just people not taking me seriously just because you don't look your age for whatever reason, just because my face is my face and I can't look any older. It's because of my genes. My family just naturally and genetically look youthful for a long time until they don't anymore, and then they look like my gorgeous grandma or my gorgeous mothers, because I like to wear highlighter and I like to put foundation on my face, and because I like to do my eyebrows, or something to do with the appearance, just because if I have an interest for myself, not because I want to look good for anyone else, but just because I enjoy putting on makeup. But there are days when I don't, and I don't care if I go outside with no makeup on, and y'all have seen me in my vlogs like that. Certainly one of the stereotypes I deal with, and that's not specific to being a woman of color necessarily, it's just being a woman in general. I don't want to just pinpoint the accounting industry, but just like in the workforce, or showing my sense of style, because that's something that just interests me. At times will judge or will create some bias against you or towards you, or have this thought about you that, oh, who's she trying to impress because she's wearing heels? No one. I just like wearing heels, okay? And there are days when I don't like wearing heels. There are days when I want to wear flats. It just depends on my mood. It's just a way of expressing myself, my own individuality. Those are definitely the things that I feel like I deal with a lot from a physical standpoint. More from a, I guess, personality or demeanor standpoint, because I'm Asian, they expect that I'm just this super smart. You're super hardworking because you're Asian, and I hate that. I hate that people will attribute these innate or these intangible qualities about a person to their race, and not just because that's the person who they are. I have grown to be a person with determination and of a person who will apply themselves and focus on goals and put all of my energy into something, because I know if I don't do that, then I'm not gonna get what I want in life. No one is gonna give me my CPA license. I have to work for that. And if you've watched my CPA video before, you know I failed several times before I passed. And it wasn't until I just sat my ass down and said, listen, chick, you need to focus and apply yourself and really give this your best. That's when I passed. It's not because I'm innately smart and I just read or listened to the lecture once and just got it and remembered it throughout my CPA exam, because that's not the case. And I even have it on my CPA exam video where people are like, step 1, be Asian. I believe they're being playful because step 1, I was Asian. Step 2, I failed. But there are definitely people who have that stereotype in their mind that because I'm Asian, things come easily and I don't have to study and I'm just super smart. And you know what? I am smart because I apply myself and I work really hard to learn a subject, to really understand and grasp the concepts, but that comes from my grit and my determination. And I think those are qualities that aren't just from your race and from your genetics. Those are things that you learn over time. And that's not something that I just was born with. I didn't wake up one day and was like that. You know, as you grow up, you are faced with certain situations in life, examples of the type of person you want to be and examples of the person you don't want to be. And as you grow older, those things just affect you and mold you into the person that you are. Qualities about a person, if you don't have it naturally, you can build those things with practice. I saw very early on that if I didn't put in a lot of effort, for example, I went to a spelling bee. I didn't really study all that well for it. I went up there, I couldn't spell balloonist, and I had to go sit down, and then I cried because I was super embarrassed about not being able to spell balloonist. Those types of situations, a multitude of them obviously, they just build and build and build and build, and you realize after a while that it's like, okay, if you don't study for something really hard, if you don't apply yourself or really put in all your effort into something, you're gonna end up sitting down and crying. So I don't wanna do that anymore, so I'm just gonna put in all of my effort to not have sitting down and crying be the result. Specifically in my career experience, what I've noticed, whether it's because I'm Asian or because of the way I was brought up, or just who I naturally am as a person, I'm not super like loud in your face. I'm gonna tell you exactly what's on my mind all the time. I feel like I have a filter. Especially at work, I definitely have a filter. Try my best to think before I say something. The thing that I struggled with a lot in my career, whether it's because of the stereotypical, you know, meek demeanor, subservient demeanor of an Asian woman, stereotype that apparently I was living up to in other people's eyes. I consider other people's opinions and feelings before I just spout off or just pop off on stuff. And that's just how I am. That's just how I am. I don't know why. That's just how I am. I definitely feel like early on in my career, being assertive was one of the harder things for me that I had to learn. And not because of my race. It's just because of me as a person. I've had to learn that over time and over my career to speak up. When I have something to say and that I feel would be a good way to contribute, then I need to learn to speak up and go out of my comfort zone. And you learn these things even in college when you're doing group activities. You know, I'm just shy. I would be shy and I would have a hard time speaking up or saying something that I wanted to say, or I didn't want to share my thought because maybe I thought it was stupid or something like that. Just, it was more of a confidence issue with myself, and not because I'm just a subservient Asian woman. It's just because that's who I am. That's how I was. I had insecurities myself. You know, you're practicing in college. You're practicing being in a group discussion and sharing ideas and stuff like that. But when you get into the real world and into your career, that is super important to speak up when you actually really do have something to say that is going to contribute to the team. And it's still something I'm finding a balance with. So early on in my career, I was just shy. I didn't think I knew enough. I wasn't confident enough in my own skills and abilities. And so I wouldn't speak up and I wouldn't say what was on my mind. And that was something that I had to learn to get over. I had to get over the fact of I just need to not care if I sound stupid. These are my thoughts and opinions, and if I come from an educated place, if I have done my research and I have things to back up what I have to say, then I'm gonna say that. Or if I want to be a part of a certain project, like no one's gonna know that unless I say something. And so those are the things that you start to learn as you are put in situations that are uncomfortable. You start to learn to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. And I talk about this a lot in all of my videos, but that's truly something I've had to learn. People around you will never know that you want to do something. No one's gonna just hand you an opportunity and say, here, go do recruiting, or here, go talk to the client. And you have to own your career. This is going off topic. That's what I realized over time, was that if I wanted to own my destiny and own my journey in life, then I had to be more assertive. And I learned that over time, and it took time. All that to say, one of the things I've had to deal with in my career is a deeper stereotype, not just for women of color, but women in general in the workforce. Men are stereotyped to be more aggressive and to be more straightforward and to the point when it comes, to dealing with them in the workforce, which could be because of their personalities, and not all men are like that. People in general think men in the workforce are. There are people who use that as a standard of competence or leadership skills. And so as women, we have to learn how to balance being assertive, being aggressive, being straight to the point. You try really hard to would be characterized for men, and then you come across as being a bitch, or you're trying too hard. Struggle going on already. If I didn't live up to the standard that people are holding of other women who I worked with, that is what makes you successful in your career, is by being super loud and just like talking over people and getting your point across that way. I've definitely been around people who thought that is what makes up a good leader, and I personally don't think that is good or effective leader whatsoever. And that's my own personal opinion and preference, and for that reason I chose to get away from that. Doesn't have leadership skills or whatever, just because I have a different style of communicating or a different way of managing than other people would have. And that's another topic we can talk about later on. And I've definitely made my mistakes, definitely not been the greatest at it sometimes. Stumbled with trying to help other women that I've met in my career. There's been some people that I've grown very close to because we are like support systems, and then there are some people who don't appreciate the way that I give advice or the perspective that I try to provide. And that's all a part of life and your managing or leadership style, and that is gonna happen, and you go through what you go through, right? The message that I want to end with y'all today is I truly feel that your appearance does not define you. They may have provided me with experiences that have formed me into the person that I am today, but that truly is, for me, a small part of my identity. There's so much more to me than that, and there's so much more to you than that as well. Anyone else who is watching this video, I just want y'all to know that physical appearances and the way someone sounds or the accent someone might have does not define them or you. And I really want to encourage y'all to look deeper into someone than just what you see on the outside. Really try to get to know people at their core. Look at how they treat people, how they talk to other people. What are their actions? Are they people who keep their word? Are they speaking well of other people? Are they uplifting other people, or are they not? And I think that is truly what is important, not the way that someone looks or sounds. And especially in the workforce, just because someone maybe talk the talk doesn't necessarily mean that they are the example of a leader or an example of a person that you need to strive to be like, because that's definitely not been the case for me. The people that I look up to and who I respect and I view as mentors are people who I see being good people. They are people who keep their word. They are people who have a hard work ethic. They're people who give credit to those who deserve the credit, and not just because the person with the loudest mouth is there. Those are the people who I feel like are leaders and mentors and people to strive to be like. There's definitely that struggle in the workforce. I personally try my best not to let that affect me or bother me. I'll get ignorant things being said to me at times, like, oh, I didn't know Asians like barbecue, or some dumb shit like that. And I just try not to let it affect me. The people who sum you up and try to value you based on your appearance or your background or the way you sound are honestly ignorant and not people who I care about their opinion at all. Y'all don't do that as well. I know that's really hard. If you're somewhere where people who are just plain old ignorant and unprofessional, successful, then that's, I don't want you guys to think that you have to be that. You don't have to be someone who jokes about that type of stuff to be successful in your career or in life. I don't deal with this all the time in my career, and it's only with certain individuals in the past that I've had to deal with this. But I have definitely had to deal with people who want to pretend that your value is based on how you look. I think that sums up the totality of what I've gone through in my accounting career or just being in the workforce. I hope that in the future, people will become more just open-minded, stop caring about the way people look and allow people to just be themselves. I think it takes a non-ignorant person to see that just because one person is different from another doesn't mean that they aren't as much of a leader as another person. You can have a person coming from an Asian background who doesn't just talk over people and whatnot, and they are still a good leader and they have leadership skills on their own. Just because they don't fit into a cookie cutter leader or a cookie cutter worker or employee doesn't mean that they aren't just as valuable as another person. Everyone brings value to the table. All right, y'all, so that is my experience being a woman of color in the workforce. I hope it was somewhat insightful, and I hope that it at least gave you a little bit of food for thought. So I think this video is already getting super long, and hopefully I can edit it in a way where it will make sense. If you enjoyed the video and if it was helpful at all, please give the video a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not already part of our subby family, because we would love to have you. I hope y'all have a great week, and I will talk to y'all in my next video. And I deal with, I don't know, anyways, I'm gonna cut that out. I don't try to pull shit out of my, I don't mean that to be rude. I'm thinking about a specific situation that's really frustrating for me anyway, so that's why I say that. Anyways, I don't know, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna cut that out too. I think it's, that's what I really realized. I don't value their opinion at all. At work or in my personal life, I just don't want them in my life whatsoever. I saw that if I don't put